me share the screen. Okay, right. Yeah, this one. Okay, so these are the main features. So we will have two types of features. One is specific feature and a shared feature. Okay, so specific features usually, okay, if you want to use SQL Server for storing, processing and retrieving purpose, you have to use these three features. By default, you have to use these three features. Database engine is the brain of the SQL Server. Replication, we have a separate feature, replication. Full text semantic extract, search, okay, it is for searching the data. Okay, these three are specific features, and you can see there are two sections actually. Someone started the video, please stop the video, guys. Someone, I guess Kishan, you can
Yes, sir.
stop the video.
Actually, I connected from the laptop till now.
Okay, I'm stopping. Okay, no problem. I'm going to stop. Yeah,
Okay,
that's
I'll
fine.
stop.
Yeah. So if you see here, there are two sections. Okay, instance features, shared features. These are the specific features. These are the shared features. Okay. From specific feature side, you have to choose these three features. Shared features also very important. And remember, shared features, as I discussed, these are the shared features. So in a machine, you can install 50 SQL Server instances. Okay. Instance means one SQL Server software copy is called one instance. One SQL Server software copy is called one instance. So like this, how many SQL Server software copies you can install in a single machine? 50
15.
instances, 49 plus 1. Okay, we'll explain what is this 49 plus 1. 50 instances you can, means 50 SQL Server software copies you can install in a single standalone machine. Okay, so usually in the organization don't install those many instances, hardly, mostly one instance on each machine. Okay, sometimes you can see two instances, hardly three instances. Okay, hardly three instances in a single machine. Why? Because if the machine is down, all the three instances are going to be down. Okay, so that's why you can ask, sir, why I have to spend money on Windows Server licensing? I'm going to install all my 50 instances in a single machine. You can install it, but if something happened to that particular Windows Server, all your 50, please mute yourself, guys, please. Please, guys, who is the chitty?
హలో చెప్తే
Oh my god, who is that one? Yeah, fine. Okay, fine. Right. Someone said, give me permission. Yeah, Gopi, I gave you the recording permissions. You can record. Okay, that's fine. Okay, I gave you the recording permissions again. You can record. Right. So you can ask, sir, I'm going to install 50 instances in a single Windows machine so that I'm going to save a lot of money to my company. Okay, you can do that, but something happened. Okay, to the Windows machine. If you have to restart the Windows machine as part of the maintenance activities like patching and all, you have to restart the Windows machine and all the 50 instances are going to be rebooted. Okay, so that is not good. So in a single machine, in a standalone machine, okay, you can see mostly one instance, sometimes two instance, hardly three or four instances you can see on a single machine. Okay, so one SQL Server software copy is called one instance. Right. So imagine you want to install second instance on the same machine. First time you are going to choose some specific and shared features, right? For the first machine, you are going to choose some specific features and the shared features, right? So next time, what are the features you have to choose? If you are installing second instance, what features you have to choose? Second or third instance, what features you have to choose? Specific is enough. Okay, why? Because already shared features are there. We'll install shared features only once per machine. Okay, so we'll install shared features only once per machine. And this is like, let me give you an example. Okay, so if you're staying in a PG, If you are staying in a PG, you will have separate assets. Your laptop is a shared feature or specific feature. Your laptop in the PG, if you are staying in a PG, your laptop is a specific feature or shared feature, specific asset or shared asset.
Specific.
Specific asset.
Specific.
Your mobile phone, specific or shared?
Specific.
Okay, very good. And what else we can go with the your wallet, specific or shared?
Specific.
Specific, very good. And PG washing machine, specific or shared?
Shared
It's
feature.
shared.
PG geyser, specific or shared?
Shared.
So if anyone comes to the PG, he is not going to buy one more washing machine, right? The same assets. TV, specific or shared?
Shared.
Shared. So if you anyone new person joined in the PG, you are not going to install, you are not going to buy any TV. So the particular PG owner also not going to buy extra TV. The same TV you have to use, same washing machine you have to use, same Wi-Fi router you have to use. These are the shared features. Once you install, no need to install second time, right? So these are the shared features. Once you install for the first time, next time if you are installing second instance, no need to install shared features. Third instance, no need to install shared features. Simply you can choose specific features, right? Clear? So for the first time, right, so I'm going to choose specific and shared also. What are the common specific features? Shared features, specific is completed, right? So what are the common shared features we have to choose? Client tools connectivity, client tools backward compatibility, client tools SDK, SQL client connectivity SDK. These are the 4 shared features that you have to choose, okay, while installing the SQL Server. Next time if you want to install same features, you cannot install same features. Why? Because these are already selected and these features will be grayed out next time if you are installing the SQL Server, as these are already installed. That is the meaning of shared features, okay? And if you want to install SSIS, SSAS, SSRS, okay, you can see here SSAS. If you want to install SSAS, simply you have to select this feature. That's it. Very rarely users will ask you analysis services or integration services or reporting services, okay? Integration services is a specific feature. You can see here. Okay, if you want to install integration services, you can select this option. If you want to install analysis services, you can select this option. As integration services is a specific shared features, I'm sorry, shared feature, no need to install integration services for multiple instances. Once you install integration services for one instance, that's fine. But analysis services and reporting services are shared features. Different analysis services for different instances. You have to keep selecting multiple times for analysis services and reporting services. Okay, so now I am not going to install any analysis services or reporting. If you want reporting services, you can see here looking for reporting services and you can see download it from web. So organization servers don't have internet, so you have to download externally from your local laptop and you can copy to the shared location, or you can directly copy to the Windows server, right? These are the specific features and shared features, right? Fine. So again, if you are confusing here, what are the features that are there with the client tools? Choose all those things. Client tools connectivity, client tools backward, client tools SDK, SQL client connectivity. These are the common shared features that you have to choose while installing the SQL Server. Okay, right. Go to next. Right, fine. So we have two types of, yes.
Here, last option, master database, you couldn't select that one. Why?
Master
You
database.
said,
Master data services, master
yeah.
data services, master data services. Okay, that is a different feature. We are not going to use master data services and all. Okay, so we'll tell you where we are going to use this master data services. Okay, so that is completely different feature. I'll tell you. Okay, we usually don't use master data services, MDS. Okay, master data services. Sometimes users will ask, this is a development requirements. Okay, so we are going to install SQL servers for the users itself. If users needs master data services, then we are going to choose master data services. Okay, I'll tell you what master data services will do. Okay, right. So we have two types of instances. Okay, we have two types of instances. Default instance.
Named instance.
Yeah, very good. Okay, default and named instance. What is the difference between these two? Functionality wise, there is no difference between. How a default instance will work in the same way named instance also will work. There is no even single difference between a default instance and named instance in terms of functionality wise. It's not compulsory that you have to install default instance for the first time, or you have to install named instance for the first time. Nothing like that. The first time any instance you can install, and it's not compulsory that you have to install default instance in that machine. That's your wish. Directly, if you want to go for named instance, you can go for named instance. If you want to go for default instance, default instance. But what is the difference? Just connecting. Okay. Default instance, you are going to connect using computer name or server name. Okay. Named instance, you have to provide a specific name and you have to connect. Yes, you have to connect using that name. Oh, this is the only difference, guys, between default instance and named instance. Okay, a default instance, okay, it will automatically take the computer name. First of all, that's why no need to provide the name for default instance. See here, default instance is selected, right? Okay, so
Yes.
it is not asking any name. It is not asking any name here. Why? Because it will take the computer name. If you choose default instance, it will take the computer name. While connecting, you have to give the computer name to the default instance. Okay, so I can install only one default instance in a machine. Can anyone tell me what is the reason? Why I can install only one default instance in a machine?
Because it's connecting through the, it's taking a computer name or server name, right?
Yes,
So it takes.
yes,
And
very
it
good,
goes to every have same computer name.
very good.
So that
Okay,
we may
very good. So imagine I have, okay, two Bharats in the session. In our class, imagine Kumaraswamy. Imagine I have two Kumaraswamy in our session. Okay, if I call Kumaraswamy, what is the best case? Both will respond. What is the worst case? Both won't respond. Okay, so that's why to avoid this conflict, so usually we cannot install multiple default instances in a single machine, as it will use computer name. I have a question for one more question. Right, can I install 2017 default instance and 2019 default instance? Both are different versions now.
No.
yes, we can install.
Yes, we can.
I need answers from everyone. Just try to respond. Yes or no?
No.
No,
Yes, sir.
no,
Yes.
No, we cannot.
Yes, sir.
Because the computer name and server name will be the same, right? So we cannot install it.
Okay, very good, guys. So the answer is no. Okay, so no, we cannot install, even though you are installing a different version instance. Once computer name is allocated, okay, once computer name is occupied, you cannot use, please mute. Okay, yeah, once computer name is occupied, you cannot use same computer name for other instances, for other versions also. Okay, so the answer is you cannot install multiple default instances of a same version of a different version also. Okay, specific instance, you have to provide a specific name. What are the naming conventions? There are some naming rules. Okay, it will accept up to 16 characters. Up to 16 characters means your instance name can have up to 16 characters, right? And it cannot start with numbers. It cannot start instance name. It means it cannot, instance name cannot start with numbers. Okay, and instance name cannot start with special characters. Okay, and instance name doesn't allow special characters other than dollar and underscore. Only it will allow these two special characters in the instance name. It won't allow other special characters. Okay, so now tell me, okay, so can I give instance name like this, 2017 SQL Server?
No.
Can I give like this?
No.
Why? Because it was started with a number which is not valid.
Numbers.
Okay, yeah, Can I give instance name like this?
No,
No.
sir.
No.
Space
Yes.
between them.
Very good. Okay.
Space
So
between not there.
space is a special character, guys. So space also not allowed in the instance name. Okay. And can I give instance name like this? Can I give instance name like this?
No, sir.
No, sir. Numbers in
That's
between.
still the number, sir.
Numbers?
It exceeds 16 characters.
It exceeds 16 characters. It exceeds 16 characters.
Very good. Okay. So the main issue is you can give numbers, not an issue, but it is exceeding. And definitely you can see, of course, it will exceed more than 16 characters. So it is also not a valid name. So you have these are the naming conventions you have to give. Okay. If you want to install a named instance, right? Very good, guys. So let me quickly do this. Default instance. I have a question. Okay. Quick question. I installed a default instance. Now I want to change it to named instance. The same instance I want to change it to named instance. Is it possible? So
No,
the
it's
answer
not.
is not possible.
Yes.
Okay. Once you install the default instance later, you cannot change it to named instance. Or if you install a named instance later, you cannot change it to default instance. Once you install a specific instance, okay, throughout it will continue. You cannot change it to other instance. So default instance. Okay. So I'm going to choose, please mute. I'm going to choose default instance. So you can see here by default instance, it will use MS SQL Server. It will create MS SQL Server folders in your C drive. While connecting, you have to give computer name only, but default instance related stuff and all will be saved under MS SQL Server. One folder will be created with instance ID. You may ask, what is the use of this instance ID, sir? Instance ID will help you to create one folder with the name of this name, with this particular name. Okay, for default instance, it will create MS SQL Server folder in the C program files Microsoft SQL Server location. Okay, if you give named instance, it will create a folder with that particular name, right? In case if you want to give name of the instance, select the named instance as discussed SQL Server 2017. And if you see, same folder will be created here also. With the same name, folder will be created. But if you choose default instance, automatically MS SQL Server will be created. A folder will be created. Okay. But while connecting, you have to give computer name only. You cannot give MS SQL Server for default instance, right? In case if you already any installed instances are there, you can see already installed instances in this location. But as of now, this is new server, right? So you don't see any installed instances here. This is a fresh box. Okay. Go to next. Right? So instance configuration, yes, server configuration. So you have to understand this concept here. Service accounts are very useful. Okay. So what is this service account? Service account is an account which helps you to run the service. Okay. Service account is an account which helps you to run the service. Okay. So remember, guys, each software will have service accounts. Each software will have service accounts. Each software, even though you are installing an antivirus software, it will also have service accounts. But it won't ask which service account I have to choose. But SQL Server, it is very important. It's very important. Why? Because what is the use of the SQL Server? To store the data, to process the data, to retrieve the data, right? Storing means what? A write operation. Okay. Retrieving means what? A read operation. So if you want to write the data to the files, if you want to read the data from the files, of course, you have to enter into the folders, right? Who can enter into the folders? Who can read the data on behalf of SQL Server? SQL service won't read the data on behalf of SQL Server. SQL software won't read the data on behalf of SQL Server. Who will read it? A service account can only log into all the folders in the machine. Why? Because if anyone wants to log into the folders, it should be an account only. A service can't log into the folders. Okay. a software can't log into the folders. Imagine you are installing, okay, a software, Avasta antivirus software. This Avasta antivirus software, what is the use of this Avasta antivirus software? How it will work? It will scan each and every folder. Okay, if it found any virus files, okay, it will keep it aside. It will mark it as a virus, and finally it will ask us, these are the affected files. Do you want me to remove? If you click yes, it is going to remove. That means write operation. Who is going to do? Scanning means reading. Okay, scanning means reading, and writing, of course, you know writing. Deleting means writing. So who is going to do this reading and writing? Avesta virus software can't do this. Avesta antivirus can't do this. Service of Avesta antivirus also can't do this. On behalf of Avesta antivirus, okay, a user, a service account is going to log into all the folders, and he is going to scan all the folders, and he is going to delete the affected folders. That is called service account. Service account is an account which helps you to run the service. So where I can see all the service accounts, go to the services.msc in the server, services.msc. There you can see all the services for each software. What are the installed softwares are there? For all installed softwares, you can see service accounts. See here, logon as field is there, right? These are the service accounts. By default, some softwares, not some softwares, most of the softwares don't ask service account. Why? Because of course service account is important, but they don't ask you to choose the service account. Why? Because already default service accounts are there, right? So Microsoft means your operating system will allocate a default service account to other softwares. But SQL Server having a feasibility, you can choose your own service accounts. Okay, why? Because for the purpose of SQL Server, I am using Windows Server. Not for Windows Server, I am installing SQL Server, right? So the priority is SQL Server here. I want to store the data, process the data, retrieve the data. So for my SQL Server, I am using all these activity, right? So what I can do here, we have two types of service accounts: default service accounts or inbuilt service accounts. Okay, default or inbuilt, and customized service account. Service accounts. Okay, so you can choose default service accounts also for SQL Server, but usually we don't choose default service accounts for the SQL Server. There are some limitations. Imagine you are staying in a separate room. You are the only one staying in a room. One maid is coming to you, and she is working for all of whatever work is there, like cleaning, everything, cooking and all. She is coming, and daily she is coming. She is completing the work in 1 hour, and she is going. Right? So one more person is added to the room. Your friend came into the room, and he's decided to stay with you, right? So the same, earlier same maid is working for one person. Now she has to work for two persons. Now one more person is added. Three persons came. So earlier she used to complete the things in 1 hour. Now the time is increased 1.5 hours. Four persons came into the room, only one maid. Five persons came into the room, only one maid. Maid is a service account here. Okay, if services are increasing, the work is also going to be increased. The time taking process is also going to be increased. So that's why I don't depend on default service accounts. The same default service accounts will be shared for all the softwares. So my process may late, data processing may late, data retrieving may late. Okay, so that's why I don't use default service accounts. I am going to use a customized. I have my own maid. I'm going to maintain a separate maid for me. That maid is a service account. So in the interview, don't tell maid is a service account. Okay, so just for the example. Okay, so service account will help you to read the data, to write the data from the disk to the disk. This is the main usage of the service account. Got it? Any issues, any doubts here, please?
Sir, can you explain one more time for default and
Yeah, I'll explain. See, simply, I told you, right, for every software that you're installing in the Windows machine should have service account. Okay, so usually by default, we will get 3 default service accounts. Okay, what are those 3? Local service, network service, yes, network service, and local system. Local system is the highest privileged service account. Okay, imagine, see how many services are there in this machine. How many services are there? You can see service accounts here, log on as field. Okay, local service one, local system another one, and network service. Okay, these are the three services. See, imagine these are all services are students that are staying in a room. For these many students, only 3 workers are there. Now you are going on, now SQL Server is going to add to the list. So 3 workers has to work for all these students, means how much burden will be there on these 3 workers, 3 mates, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I don't encourage using the default service accounts. I'll create my, why? Because SQL Server is the priority software here. I'm spending a lot of money on SQL Server. If it is waiting for the data processing, if it is waiting for reading purpose, if it is waiting for writing purpose, then my process will slow, creates performance issues. Okay, ultimately the application will be slow, right? Imagine you are buying a product in the Amazon, it is taking 5 minutes to go to the, okay, what we can see, that buying pace, it is taking 5 minutes to add the product into the cart. So are you going to like bear 5 minutes of time? You cannot. Why? Because other softwares, other applications, okay, other applications like Flipkart and all very quick, and Amazon is still taking 5 minutes, okay, just to add the product into the cart. Time waste process, right? So people will simply skip Amazon and they will go to the Flipkart. So if any process delay is there, if any performance issues are there, we usually don't bear it. Okay, we usually don't bear it. So that's why our business will be lose. So that's why we are going to use, for avoiding these kind of process delay issues and all, we will have our own service accounts. Okay, we will have a specific service accounts. Those are customized service accounts. So in the next class, I'll tell you how to create customized service accounts. As of now, I'm installing with the default service accounts only. Okay, clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, fine.
Sure.
Okay. So SQL Server agent, one software, one service will be created as a SQL Server agent. And for one database engine, one more service will be created. Okay. Database engine, one minute, guys, 1 minute. 1 minute. Hello. Right. Okay. So I'm going to use the default service accounts. I am not going to change as of now. Later there is an exercise for us how to change a service account, so that is also important. I will tell you how to change a service account. Okay, right. So as of now I'm installing default service account. You can change the service account at any time. You have to know how to change it. So in the next exercise I'll show you how to create an account, how to change the service account. As I'm using default service accounts, it don't ask passwords. Okay, so 4 services will be created, one for SQL Server agent, one for database engine, of course, which is very important, one for full text, one for browser. For these 4 services, 4 service accounts will be used. Okay, and startup type, usually we are going to keep it as automatic. Okay, once the server is started, these services also should be started. It shouldn't be manual. If it is manual, you have to start the service manually after server reboot. So it's not a good practice. So I'm keeping it as automatic. Once your server is, Windows server is rebooted, then automatically these services will be restarted. Okay, fine. Collation settings are nothing but your language settings. Collation settings are nothing but your language settings. Okay, so by default we are going to use these language settings: SQL, Latin 1, General, CP1, CIAS. Okay, these are the language settings by default. These are the language settings. No, I'm going to close it in 10 minutes. Okay, don't worry guys, in 10 minutes I'll initiate the installation. Okay, so in case if you want to change it, by default we are going to use this collation settings only, this language settings only. Latin 1 general, CP1 CIAS. CP1 means code page 1, CI means case insensitive, AS means accent sensitive. Of course, Latin 1 for every language, usually we are going to prefer Latin languages, right? So for English, usually Latin. For our local languages, how Sanskrit will work. For English language, Latin will work. Okay. So in case if you want to change it to a different language, you want to change it to Hindi, you can select from your own language. Okay. So you can select from here. Lot of languages are there. Chinese language is there. Okay. Hindi also will be there. Hindi. I guess Hindi is there, right? No. Okay, that's fine. Okay, Hindi is not there. Japanese language is there. Like this, you can change your language, but usually 99% we are not going to change this language settings. By default, if you are inserting an English data in the databases, you are going to use Latin only. Okay. Sometimes users will tell you, they will ask a specific collation settings. Based on their requirements, we are going to change the collation settings. Okay, right. Let me go next. Right. Okay, fine. So server configuration, we have two types of authentication, guys. Authentication means how you are logging into the server, SQL server. Okay, how you are going to log into the SQL server is called authentication. The process of verifying the username and password is called authentication. We have two types of authentications. One is Windows authentication, second one is mixed authentication. So I'll explain these 2 points in the security concept. Now you cannot understand. So as of now, okay, Windows authentication means those who can log into the Windows machine, they can log into my SQL server. When not all people, an account should be created in the SQL server, then only they can connect to my SQL server. In the security concept, I will explain with the need diagrams and also. As of now, you can choose any authentication. Windows or mixed mode, not an issue. In the next class, not in the next class, in the security concept, we have a separate classes on security. There I will explain the differences between Windows authentication, mixed mode authentication, how security will work, how a user can log into SQL server. I'll explain everything in the security. Okay. So as of now, remember guys, if I want to connect to the SQL server, at least one user should be there in the SQL server. So I am selecting this current user option. So who is installing the SQL server? A login will be created on behalf of him in the SQL server. Then only I can connect. Even though if you install SQL server, if you don't add anyone here, installation will be successful, but no one can connect to the SQL server. Okay, so that's why it is very important. So installation will be successful, but no one will be connected to the SQL server. Why? Because there is no account created in the SQL server to connect. So that's why it is important. You have to add one person. This person will get sysadmin privileges so that he can add other persons. If any other persons seeking access required permissions, this person can create logins for them and can give permissions also, but at least one person should be there to log in to the SQL server, right? So that's why I'm adding add current user option. In the organization, we are going to add Sql DBAs. We are going to add service accounts and all here. Okay, I'll explain again. Data directories. So when you install SQL server, okay, there are separate directories for data files. Database data files will store in one directory. Log files will store in one directory. System data files will be stored in another directory. Backup files will be stored in another directory. Directory means folder. Okay. So you can use same drive or else you can use different paths also. As of now, I'm having only one drive, that is C drive. So I'm not changing the path here. In the C drive, it will create these folders. Program files, of course, it will be there. It will create folders like this: Microsoft SQL Server, MS SQL 14.MS SQL Server, MS SQL data folder will be created. Okay. Sridhar, now you are asking recording permission. Let me give you quickly. You can record, Sridhar. Okay, fine. So these folders will be created once installation is started. TempDB is a separate DB system database which will help you to process the data. All the data processing will be done in the TempDB only. So TempDB is very crucial for SQL Server data processing. Before SQL Server 2016, usually we are going to configure the TempDB after SQL Server installation, like adding files and all. But from 2017 onwards, you can do it from the installation center only. So don't do any changes for this. Automatically, it will create one TempDB data file, one TempDB log file. Okay. So those files will be created in this location, and this is the size of the file, and these are the auto growth options of the file. Don't worry about it. I'll explain while creating a database what is auto growth, how to set auto growth. Okay. I'll explain everything. As of now, don't change it. In the organization also, don't change it. Automatically, it will pull the number of files based on the CPU cores. As I'm having only one core, so it is creating one TempDB data file. If my system server having 4 cores, it will create 4 TempDB data files. And in this location, if you want to change the location, you can change it. Okay. The meeting is going to close now. Let me reopen. Please join immediately. We'll complete in 5 minutes. Okay. After the screen, automatically installation will be started. Right. Let me reopen it. Okay. Please join immediately.